Hi everyone. So if you're working on milestone 1, remember, I know that we are later on in the year now and a lot of you have developed your pieces nearly to the point of completing, or you've already performed, but we're thinking back if you've not quite finished this milestone yet, or if you are resubmitting it to improve your grade. So milestone 1 then, it's about those early developments, reviewing that development and performance work that we've done so far. I have colour coded it, so in order to get the distinction, you must do all red, amber and green tasks. But obviously if you've targeted a merit, it's the red and amber ones. If not, it's just the red tasks. So we're starting off with the wider research of our play. Using the internet to find this information if you don't know it already, but making sure that we are not copying and pasting. We won't get any marks for copying and pasting, guys. The examiner will just send your work back and discount it as part of your coursework. So, who is the play written by? What time period was it set or written in? What this implies about your characterization and production elements. So if you imagine, excuse me, if you imagine a piece that was written decades ago, they wouldn't have had as much access to the lighting and sound elements that we do now. If it was written for a Birmingham accent, for example, you would have to adapt your character to fit that. Similarly, if your character was older, you would play it different, very different to how if it was younger. What was the writer trying to get across to the audience? So what was their aim or intention? What was the point of the play? What did they want us to learn, to understand, to think about, to feel about the characters and their situations? And then based on this information, what are your ideas going forward? And give examples with that. Okay? Next then, you must write in full sentences. Please don't just answer the questions, guys. It's about making our coursework look as professional and well taken care of as possible. So start off with a paragraph about your choice of play. Which have you chosen? Why have you chosen it? What happens in the scene that you've selected? And what is your vision for this? What are your ideas? How are you going to put those forward to best put across the characters and their situation? What are your characters' decisions? So who's playing who? Why did you make these choices? Is it because a particular character is quite overconfident or emphasizes a lot, and somebody in your group has that type of personality or is quite skilled in that type of characterization? So think about people with specific strengths and if they match certain characters. This is then where you slot in the wider research you did in task 1. So answering those questions and putting them in. So it should just be a matter of copying and pasting from the work you've already done. Style and practitioner. So remember, this is where we're thinking about our use of epic theatre, theatre of cruelty, or naturalism, for example. I know some of you have used melodrama as well. So which style have you chosen? If there's a practitioner linked to it, who is that practitioner? And why have you made this decision? Why did you decide that if, for example, you've chosen naturalism, that suits this play the most? And then how are you going to incorporate that into your work? So if you have picked naturalism, you might want to talk here about the use of emotion memory, movement memory, and the magic if. And then how you can use those to have a greater impact on the audience. How will that then develop your characters and their situation? Next, we need to explain the plot and the subplot and the character relationships within your piece. So we're no longer thinking about the actors, we're thinking about the play specifically. When I say character relationships, I don't necessarily mean if they are in an emotional relationship. I mean how they feel about each other. So does Joe Bloggs and Annie Smith feel quite hatred towards each other because of something that's happened within the play? Or do they have quite an awkward relationship? And how is that shown within your character? Then we're thinking about our rehearsals. So remember, this is early stages. What have you been doing so far? What did we do in the specific milestone? How did you develop your work? Remember, there's pictures that can be added to those, and those will be in your assignments as well. Then we did the scene sketch. You all had an email from me earlier on in the year, so you just need to scoot back through your emails, find that one and add it onto your milestone. For a merit, you will need to add labels to explain it. And for a distinction, you'll also need to justify your ideas. Remember, that word justification simply means why. Why did I do this? What was the purpose? Then, and ignore the little typo there where it says number 9, because it's not a separate task, it's just part of task 8. So 9/10. So far, what's going well and what needs improvement. This should be your bread and butter, guys. It's strengths and weaknesses. Make sure you're making references to skills and techniques you've been using and what attempts you've made to work professionally. To aim for that distinction, you need to make sure you put these for both as a group and as an individual. And finally, set targets for yourself. For the merit, analyse how these will help you improve your skills and make sure that for the distinction, you talked about techniques and professional practice. Okay, if you need any more help with that, please do let me know. Drop me an email or message me on Teams. I'll be happy to help.